month of budget-friendly recipes. So this is going to be 20 recipes that are super budget-friendly options. I did 20 of them because I usually cook about 5 times a week, so that will give you 20 recipes for a whole month. That's just usually what I do. I do not like to cook every day, but I typically do about 4 to 5 times a week. So hopefully these will help you guys out as you're trying to meal plan. Also, if you guys are interested in the recipes, they will be linked in the description box. It'll be a little bit different though, because it'll be linked to my website. I will have a link to it. It'll go right to that blog post. So it'll be an article and it'll be titled probably like 20 budget-friendly options, and so everything will be linked right to my website, right to the exact article that you need. So if you ever need a recipe, you can go to my website and that's where it'll be. It won't be linked, it won't be in my description box like it has been before. So if you're interested, you can go to the website. If not, that's okay. You can check it out if you'd like, but I finally have a website up, so I'm pretty excited about that. So all right, and without further ado, let's get started cooking. First thing we're going to get started on is Southwestern Chili. We're going to be doing all of this in the crock pot, but first we're going to make our ground beef on the stovetop. So I need just a little bit of grease, or you guys can use oil, whatever you guys prefer. I'm going to put in about half a cup of an onion, just a diced up onion, and then 1 pound of ground beef. Just go ahead and cook that up until it's cooked through. And then I'm just going to put that at the very bottom of our crock pot. You can grease, you can leave out the grease, or you can take out the grease, whichever you guys prefer. I'm going to put in 1 can of chili beans, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, 1 can of black beans that I went ahead and rinsed off, 1 can of corn, 1 can of rotel. And then I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then half a tablespoon of chipotle seasoning, just like this one right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good stir. All right, and then you can add like a little bit more chicken broth or some water if it's not like completely submerged, or if you like it a little bit more liquidy. It's completely up to you. I put this on a low setting for 4 hours, and then after it was done cooking, this is what it looks like. It was very hearty and super delicious. Next, we're going to be doing chicken noodle casserole. So to a medium saucepan, I just have some water that I'm trying to boil, and I'm going to put in 12 ounces of medium egg noodles, and just try to get a pan that's big enough because it's quite a bit of noodles. Okay, to a cast iron skillet or any type of skillet, we're going to cook up 2 pounds of chicken that I have diced up. In a medium to large bowl, I have 3 cups of mixed vegetables and 1.5 cups of milk. I'm also going to add 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. And then 1 cup of mayo that I almost like flipped off and made a big mess. All right, I have 2 cups of shredded up cheese here, and I'm just going to use 1 cup for right now. We'll end up using the other cup to top our casserole with. We're going to go ahead and give that a good stir, and then just put our chicken right into there as well. After it has been cooking for a little bit and it's completely cooked through, now we're going to go ahead and give that another good stir. Put that off to the side. We're going to get a 9x13 casserole dish out. I did go ahead and lightly grease that. Our egg noodles are done cooking, so I'm just going to put that at the very bottom of our casserole dish. Now I'm going to put our mixture right into the casserole dish, and then I'm just going to go ahead and give that another really good stir. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and layer with the rest of that cheese. So it should be about 1 cup that we're going to put right on top. All right, now I'm going to take
half a cup of butter, and we're going to go ahead and melt that. While that is melting, I'm going to take 3/4 a cup of breadcrumbs and just layer that right on top of our cheese. And then I'm going to put our butter and just lightly put it all over our breadcrumbs. You don't want to go too fast because you want to try to make sure and get all that butter all over that breadcrumbs. We're going to place this in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. This is what it's going to look like after it is done cooking. So delicious. It's really creamy, nice and cheesy as well, and I love the breadcrumbs on top. Gives it just a little bit of a crunch, a little bit of a texture to it. I love a good chicken noodle casserole. This one hit the spot. It is divine. Next was my kids' favorite, which is pepperoni pizza sliders. So to a 9x13 casserole dish, we're going to take a whole package of Hawaiian rolls. We're just going to cut them in half and put the bottom layer at the very bottom of our casserole dish. I'm going to take half a cup of pizza sauce, and we're just going to layer that right at the very bottom. If you don't like a lot of pizza sauce, I would definitely lower this to probably 1/3 of a cup, just because it was a little bit thick on the sauce, but just depends on what you guys like. And then I'm going to take 1 cup of mozzarella cheese and just layer that right on top of our pizza sauce. If you guys want to add in some seasonings, this would be a good time to do it. Adding in some Italian seasoning would be really good. I'm going to take about 4 ounces of pepperonis. I have these mini pepperonis that I think are really good for this type of dish. And I'm just going to put that right on top. Alright, I'm going to put our buns, the top layer of our buns right on top of that. And then I have about 1/4 of a cup of melted butter that I'm just going to try to layer right on top of our rolls. Then I have about 1/8 a cup of garlic that I'm just going to put right on top of that. Also, some parsley or Italian seasoning would be good right on top of this. I just did Italian seasoning just a little bit, not a whole lot. Even some garlic powder would be good. Just trying to make that flavor just enhance, just because we don't have a whole lot of ingredients to this dish. This is what it looks like after we had put it in the oven at 350 for 15 minutes. This was heavenly. It made such a great lunch. You can make this for dinner. My kids were thrilled. We had just some chips. This was more of a lunch for us. We really enjoyed this. It was so delicious. It's just something different to have for lunch, and it's very budget friendly. They were ecstatic when I made this one. Up next is one of my favorite meals. We're going to be making corn chowder, and I like to do this in the crock pot. I love making soups or any type of stew, anything like that. I love making in the crock pot. It just makes dinners so easy. If I can throw it in the crock pot, I'm definitely going to do it. So we're going to need 4 Yukon Golds. I just did medium potatoes. And then I need 2 medium carrots, 1 onion that's diced up finely, 4 cans of corn, and then 32 ounces of chicken broth that we're just going to dump all into our crock pot. For seasonings, I'm going to do 1/4 of a teaspoon of thyme, 1/2 of a teaspoon of parsley, and then 1/4 a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm just going to kind of give that a good mix. And then I just felt like there wasn't enough liquids, so I'm going to also add 2 cups of water just to make sure that everything is submerged so it'll cook properly. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on. I'm going to let that cook on a low setting for about 7 to 8 hours. When it is about 30 minutes to being about done, I'm going to go ahead and melt 3 tablespoons of butter. Once that's melted, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and then 1 can of evaporated milk, and then go ahead and give that a stir. I love adding evaporated milk to any type of soup that has potatoes in it. It makes this so creamy. You can use regular milk or half and half, but I love the taste of evaporated milk in it. I'm also going to add 8 ounces of diced up ham. We're just going to add that to our crock pot, and it's not going to take very long at all for that to get nice and warm. Okay, we're going to go ahead and give that a good stir, and if you feel like this is not thick enough, you can always add more cornstarch. Just add a little bit of cornstarch and water, and then give it a good stir. Pour it in your crock pot, and then it'll thicken up in no time. It just kind of depends on how thick and creamy you guys like your stuff. Something like this, it doesn't have to be super thick for me, so it's totally up to you. And of course, adding some more salt and pepper to this, just kind of flavoring it up to your liking. This is so good. I love having this with like some homemade bread. It's so hearty and it's so great for the fall and winter time. Up next is creamy ramen, and this is such a great like upgrade to regular ramen noodles. So the first thing we're going to do is to like a soup pan or Dutch oven, we're going to do 4 tablespoons of butter. We're just going to get that melted. Next we'll add 2 cups of milk, and then 2 cups of beef broth, or of course we can do chicken broth as well. We have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then 1 teaspoon of parsley that we're going to add. Also just about 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. Go ahead and give that a good stir. My garlic powder was sticking together, so I'm just trying to get that unclumped. And then just give that a good stir, and then just let that come to a boil. Next, we're going to add 4 blocks of ramen noodles. And then we're just going to let that get cooked through. Once our noodles are done cooking and everything has kind of soaked up to that sauce, we're going to add 1/2 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. Go ahead and giving that another really great stir. And then if you need to pour out any mixture just to make sure that it's nice and creamy and it's not too runny, you could do that as well. This is what it looks like after it is done. My kids said that this is their favorite way of making ramen noodles. They loved it. It really was super delicious and very, very creamy. Now we have a creamy ham and broccoli fettuccine. So to a medium saucepan, just let that come to a boil, and I'm just going to add 10 ounces of fettuccine noodles. While that is cooking, I'm going to get a medium saucepan, and I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Once the butter has melted, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour as well. Go ahead and give that a good stir. Once all of that is combined properly, I'm going to add 2 cups of milk, and I'm just going to slowly add it just a little bit at a time, and then just kind of mix it as we go, and it's just going to thicken up. Okay, once you have added all of your milk and everything is nice and thick, we're going to add 2 cups of broccoli. You can cut this up fine if you would like, or you can leave it in chunks, kind of like what I did. It's completely up to whatever you guys want to do, but I'm just going to cook this broccoli just for about 5 minutes. All right, once the broccoli is cooked through and that sauce has really thickened up by now, I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good stir. Next, we're going to add 8 ounces of diced ham. And I have a 16-ounce package here, so I'm only going to add 1/2 of that. And now I'm just going to give that a good stir in with our broccoli. Now we're going to add in some seasonings. I need 1/2 a teaspoon of garlic salt, 1/4 a teaspoon of oregano, 1/4 a teaspoon of black pepper, and then 1/4 a teaspoon of paprika. And I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good stir, getting those seasonings combined. Next, I'm going to add about 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, or however much cheese that you guys want. I love the Parmesan cheese in here. This just adds such a great flavor to this dish. And then once the noodles are done, we're just going to add it to our pot, add it to our saucepan, give everything a really good stir. And I just added just like a little bit of pasta at a time because I didn't want to add too much, because I really want this to be a nice and creamy texture. Once it's all combined, this is what it looks like, and of course you can add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top as well. Such a great and budget-friendly meal. Up next is Crockpot chicken tacos. So to our Crockpot, I'm going to add 2 pounds of chicken breasts. I'm going to top it with 1 ounce of ranch seasoning and 1 ounce of, or 1 packet of taco seasoning. Also 1 cup of salsa. And then I have 1 can of black beans, but I'm just using beans that I had in the freezer. And then I need 1 can of Rotel. Go ahead and cook that on a high heat for 4 hours or on a low heat for 6 to 8 hours. Once it's done cooking, we're just going to shred it using a meat masher, and it should shred really easily. And then that is it. That is such a sweet and easy meal to make. It takes no time at all, and you guys can have tacos or burritos or whatever to your liking. I paired it with some rice that I made in the Instant Pot, and then we had some chips on the side as well. Up next is a garlic pizza toast. So the first thing we're going to need is a cookie baking sheet, any type of baking sheet, and we're just going to take out our garlic toast, and it should have 8 to 10 garlic toast in there, and we're just going to lay them on the pan. I'm just trying to make sure that they are all nice and even. And then I have some pizza sauce. This is the cheapest pizza sauce that I could find. Of course, it's not my favorite, so just use whatever you guys like or whatever is in your budget to make. And I'm just going to put that on all of our little garlic toasts. And next I'm just going to sprinkle probably just a couple tablespoons of mozzarella cheese on each little toast here. And then I'm going to season it with some Italian seasoning on top. You could definitely do some garlic powder or whatever, but these garlic toasts already are seasoned and they are kind of salty, so definitely just keep that in mind. You can also put any type of toppings that you like. I just kept it at cheese. I put this in the oven at 375 for about 10 minutes, and this is what it turned out to look like. So good.
All right, guys, what do you think?
This is so amazing.
You love it?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to have it every Friday.
Every Friday, okay. What do you think, baby? Good stuff? Bubba? What do you think? So good?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Amazing.
Say, can you give it a thumbs up? There you go. Good job.
Next, we're going to be making some chicken and gravy that I did in the crock pot, and you could put this over rice or you can put it over mashed potatoes. It's completely up to you. I usually just do rice since it's cheaper and it's a lot faster. To our crock pot at the very bottom, we are going to spray it. Then we will put in about 2.5 pounds of chicken at the very bottom. I have 2 packets. You can either do pork and chicken. I just had that on hand, so I just did that, but typically I would like to do 2 packets of chicken gravy mix. And then I have 1 can of cream of chicken soup and then 2 cups of water. You want to put that on a low heat for 6 to 7 hours, or you can put that on high heat for 4 hours. After it's done cooking, we're going to take our meat masher and we're just going to shred up that chicken. Once the chicken has been shredded, we're going to add about a tablespoon of parsley, and you can definitely add fresh parsley or the dried parsley is fine too. And then just go ahead and give that another good stir. After that, that is all. I went ahead and cooked my rice in the Instant Pot because it cooks it perfectly every time, and I just love the way that it turns out. And that's it. We're just going to put it on top, and you can have this with some green beans, making it very budget friendly, very hearty. It's such a delicious, easy meal. It is done in no time flat. I just love this meal. This next meal is considered a poor man's Manhattan beef. This one is divine. So we're going to need 1 pound of ground beef, and we're just going to put that into a medium saucepan and then cook that up until it is nice and brown and cook through. Okay, now that it's been cooked, I'm going to go ahead and grab a paper towel and get any of the excess grease. This is just kind of like a lazy way of getting all the grease off without getting the strainer out and making more dishes. I'm going to be adding 2 of these brown gravy mixes. And then I have 2/3 a cup of water that I'm going to add, and I'm just going to stir that together, and it's going to get thick very, very fast. And if you feel like adding more water, that's completely fine too. Just make it to however the thickness that you want. I did end up adding just a little bit more water than what you see here. It's completely up to you. And then what you're going to do is take some regular bread, or some homemade bread would be even better, and you're going to place mashed potatoes on top of it, and then your Manhattan beef, and that's it. That is all that you need for this meal. Bud, give me your honest review. What do you think of it?
That's actually really
It's good. He was very skeptical at first, so I'm glad you like it. What do you think? Good stuff? How do you like it? Okay. I decided to pair it with some corn, and then just have, this poor man's, I don't know what it's called, Manhattan beef. Yeah, poor man Manhattan beef with some corn. This is surprisingly so good. Surprisingly so delicious. I was very skeptical as well. So good. This is a must try. Next is going to be some ham and cheese quesadillas, and this is a very simple and easy meal, and it's very, very budget friendly. So you're going to take 1 tortilla, and I just like to layer some deli meat right on top of the tortilla. Also, another kind of tip is to add the cheese first and then the ham. That way the cheese sticks to the tortilla. All right, and it also sticks to the ham as well. And then we're going to lay our tortilla right on top of that. And then just make sure both sides are fried. And that's a super easy way to make lunch. I love making this for my kids just because it is very easy. They love quesadillas. I mean, who doesn't love a good quesadilla? And it's just something different to have for lunch. And it's obviously very budget friendly. And I like to add a lot of cheese in mine. Next, we have BBQ Chicken Chili. So to our crock pot, we're going to go ahead and lightly grease that. I have 2.5 pounds of chicken that we're going to put at the very bottom. We're going to put 3 tablespoons of oil right on top of that. 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, and then 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and now we're going to put in 1 onion that I went ahead and diced up. Next, we'll add 1/3 cup of ketchup, alongside 2 tablespoons of mustard, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 2 teaspoons of liquid smoke, and then we're going to add 1 can of green chilies, 1 can of kidney beans that I went ahead and rinsed off, 1 can of chili beans, and you could just leave the juice and everything in that, and then 1 can of Great Northern beans. You could leave the juice in that as well. I'm also going to add 2 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to put that on low for about 8 hours until my chicken is nice and cooked through. We're going to take our chicken out, and I'm going to shred that. Since there's so many beans in here, I think it's better if I just take everything out and shred it with a fork versus using a meat masher, just because I don't want to mash up all my beans. I'm going to put my chicken right back into my crock pot. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and give that a good stir, getting all that chicken in with those beans. I'm I'm also going to take 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of water. Go ahead and give it a good mix and then put it in my crock pot. That way we can thicken this up just a tad. It just needs a little bit of thickening. All right, it is ready to eat. This was very delicious. It's very different type of soup. So we had it with like some tortilla chips. We felt like it was that type of a soup. It was very interesting, but actually really good. I really did enjoy this meal. Up next is lazy chicken pot pie. So to a 9x13 casserole dish, we're going to put 2 cups of mixed vegetables at the very bottom of our dish. Next, I'm going to put in 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. Two cups of milk. I'm going to put in half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of thyme, and then I have about 1.5 cups of rotisserie chicken that we're going to add in here. Of course, you can do cooked chicken, whatever type of chicken that you guys prefer. We're going to go ahead and give that a good stir. All right, and now we're just gonna lay 2 cans of the smaller biscuits, or if you just wanted to do like 1 large can, that would be fine too. I would say about 8 to 10 biscuits is about the right amount for this type of meal. You're going to put this in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. When it's done cooking, this is what it's going to turn to look like. This is a beautiful dinner. It's so easy to throw it together. This feeds between 4 to 6 people. My family loved it. My kids loved it. It's a creamy and super easy, delicious dish.
Okay, Addie, take a bite and let me know how it is. Blow on it. It's very, very hot. Like it? Good deal.
Good.
All right.
Next is tuna casserole using some macaroni and cheese boxes. So we're just going to cook up this macaroni and cheese just like how the box says to make them. I have this Winco brand. Of course, you can use whatever type of brand that you prefer. I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I like to add in with my macaroni and cheese. I also like to add evaporated milk instead of like just regular milk or water. It seems to have a little bit more of a richer taste. Then we're going to add our cheese just like it says. And then we will stir that together, make sure all of that cheese is incorporated properly. Once it is, we're going to add one of the larger cans of tuna. I believe it's like a 9-ounce can of tuna. I'm also going to add 1/3 cup of cheese and then 1 cup of peas. Go ahead and give that a good stir. And that is it. Our tuna casserole is complete. It was super simple, super easy. My kids enjoyed this meal, even though it had peas in it. My kids are not a huge fan of peas, but they really enjoyed this meal. It was such a great balanced meal. Now we're going to be making some chili. I like doing this on the Dutch oven. You can also do it in the crock pot. I've done it both ways. I love to make chili using sausage just because the sausage just adds so much flavor. So I'm going to add 2 pounds of breakfast sausage to this dish, and I'm going to go ahead and cook it just a little bit, and then I'm going to add in 1 onion and then 1 orange bell pepper. Go ahead and give that a stir. Once all that's done cooking, I'm going to add just a little bit of minced garlic, probably just about a tablespoon. I'm going to add 1 can of tomato sauce, 2 cans of chili beans, and then 1 can of diced tomatoes. And then just go ahead and give that a good stir. Next, we're going to add some spices. So I add about 2 tablespoons of chili powder, half a teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, and then 1 teaspoon of cumin, giving that a good stir. And I'm just kind of eyeballing everything. You can use chili packets if you desire. I just like using the spices just itself, just so there's no added, preservatives and whatnot. And then that's it. If you need to add more beans to your liking, that's totally fine. But this is how I make my chili, and I really enjoy it. I love all the flavors of the peppers and the onions in it. Now we're going to be making some barbecue chicken sliders. This one was a huge hit. To make this, I'm just going to shred up this rotisserie chicken. I'm going to do about 3 cups worth. I'm going to put it in a medium bowl. I'm going to add about 1 cup of honey barbecue sauce. Any type of barbecue sauce will be fine. This is the cheapest option that I found, and it's at Walmart. I believe it was just like right over $1. We're going to go ahead and give that a good stir. In a 9x13 pan, I have 12 Hawaiian rolls, and I'm just going to cut it in half. The bottom half, I'm just going to go ahead and layer with this chicken. And of course, if you wanted to do some type of like onions on this would be perfect to put like some onions, or caramelized onions would even be really good as well. Okay, I'm just going to layer that to make it nice and even. And then I have this sliced provolone cheese that I think will pair really well with these sliders. So that's what I'm going to use here. And I'm using about 8 slices, but you definitely just need about 6 slices of cheese. It came out pretty cheesy. Okay, now I have melted 1/4 cup of butter, and I'm just putting that all over my rolls. The butter has just a little bit of some brown sugar in it, so just a hint of some sweetness on top. All right, I'm going to put this in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until everything has cooked and the cheese is nice and melted. And oh my soul, guys, this is so delicious. It's so easy to make, very budget friendly, and you guys will want to make this all the time. It's great for lunches, it's great for dinners, and I just paired it with like some tater tots, just something super simple that we had that night for dinner. Now we're going to be making cheeseburger macaroni. So what we're going to need to do is get our saucepan out, and we're going to cook up 1 pound of ground beef until it is completely cooked through. And then I have about 1 tablespoon of garlic that I'm just going to mix in as well. Okay, and then off to the side, I am going to cook up 2 boxes of macaroni and cheese, and I'm just going to cook it up just how I normally would if I was making mac and cheese. So I'm going to add in some milk. Usually I add in just a little bit of butter and then our cheese, and then just give it a good stir. Okay, now that our hamburger is done cooking and I drained off any excess grease, I'm going to add 2 cups of sharp cheddar cheese, 1 can of Rotel, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and then just go ahead and give that a good stir. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in our macaroni and cheese, since that is done cooking now. And I'm just going to give all of that a good stir until it is completely stirred through and it is nice and cheesy. Everything has melted and it's looking divine. You guys, the flavor is on point with this. It is so simple to make, and I think it tastes way better than Hamburger Helper, you guys. Up next is a barbecue chicken pizza. This one was a family favorite. I'm going to need about 2 pounds of chicken breast that we're just going to slice up, and we're going to cook on the skillet. Once it's done, I'm going to remove it from the heat and just set it to the side. I'm going to spray a large pizza pan, and I already made like a homemade pizza dough, but you can do just like a refrigerated pizza dough that you buy at the store, or you can make your own. It's completely up to you. I'm going to put about a cup of barbecue sauce just at the very bottom layer of our pizza. That's going to be our sauce. And then I'm just going to kind of layer this chicken so that it's nice and even, honestly. Just try to do the best that you can there. And then I'm going to use about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of mozzarella cheese. We're just going to put that all over our pizza. We're going to bake this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes until everything has cooked through. This is so good, guys. So good. You would be very pleasantly surprised how delicious this is. My family requests this way more than they do just like a regular pizza. Now we're going to be making chicken and broccoli macaroni and cheese. So we're just going to cook up 2 boxes of macaroni and cheese, just like how the box says. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of butter in with our macaroni and cheese and a little bit of milk. I love to add this evaporated milk. Makes it taste so good. We're going to add our cheese and then just give that a good stir. I have 1 cup of broccoli and then 1 large can of chicken breast and then 1 cup of shredded up cheese. And then I'm just using my spoon here just to kind of get those chicken chunks just a little bit smaller. That way it spreads out a little bit more evenly. And then just keep stirring everything. Just make sure your broccoli has cooked through just a little bit. I just used the frozen bag of broccoli and then just had it thaw out so that it wouldn't take very long for it to get warm and cook through. And this is it. This was delicious. If you are okay with canned chicken, I'm not a huge fan of canned chicken, but if you like canned chicken, this will be a good budget-friendly option for you. The last one we're going to be making is chicken spaghetti. So I need about 10 ounces of, I like to do either angel pasta or I love to do like just thin spaghetti. The thinner noodles are way better in my opinion. And so just go ahead and cook those up until they're nice and al dente. In a 9x13 pan, go ahead and put your noodles at the very bottom. Then I have about 1.5 cups of rotisserie chicken that I put in there. You can definitely put in more or less, just depending, or you can even do just like chunks of chicken, completely up to you. I have also 1 can of cream of chicken soup, 1 can of Rotel, and then I'll be doing 1 cup of sour cream, and then just give that a really good stir until all of that is combined well. I think I forgot to mention 1 ounce of taco seasoning that you'll need in this as well. Okay, now I'm going to be adding like an Italian blend of cheeses. Some mozzarella or Parmesan cheese would be really good with this. And I'm just going to put about 2 cups of cheese right on top of our casserole. I'm going to cook this in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes until it is nice and cooked through. You guys, this is a huge hit. And having this with like some salad, super budget friendly, it's such a great option.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you guys found some really good budget-friendly options as you are meal prepping this week. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you have not already. I'd love to have you here on my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.